Imagine this. You are in the middle of the most important project of the month. You are almost finished. One more hour, maybe less. And then your screen goes black. No warning, no error message, just black. If that has never happened to you, it will. And when it does, you will need two things: the ability to fix the problem or find help, and the English to explain what went wrong. Today, you get both. Problems happen. In English, in life, every day. A plan falls apart. A machine stops working. Something you counted on is suddenly gone. The question is not whether you will face problems. The question is whether you know how to respond to them calmly, clearly, in English. By the end of this episode, you will have 10 phrases for exactly that: describing a problem, troubleshooting, asking for help, and finding a way through. Before we begin, I want you to notice something about today. Think back to the first week of this series. At A1, you needed time with every sentence. You paused, you replayed, you translated word by word, then tried to hold the meaning together. That was real work, and it was the right work for day 1. Now you are at day 25, 5 days from the end of this journey. And right now you are following this, a natural story, told at a natural pace, with complex sentences and layered vocabulary, without stopping. You may not even notice you are doing it. That is what listening fluency feels like when it arrives. Not dramatic, just quiet and present. This series exists for exactly this moment. 30 days of listening, one story at a time, from A1 to B1. You are almost there. Let's go. It is Sunday morning. Sarah is at her desk by 8. The apartment is quiet. Outside, Brooklyn is slow, the way it only gets on Sundays. Fewer cars, fewer voices. The particular stillness of a city that has decided, collectively, to take its time. She does not have that luxury today. The bookshop logo, the project she posted about on Instagram yesterday, needs to be delivered tomorrow morning. She is in the final stage. Colors adjusted, spacing refined, 3 variations ready for the client to choose from. 1 more hour of focused work and she will be done. She opens the file. She begins. 40 minutes later, the screen freezes. Not a crash, not an error, just stillness. The cursor stops moving. The program stops responding. Sarah waits because sometimes these things resolve themselves. She waits another 30 seconds. Then the screen goes black. She stares at it. The laptop is plugged in. The charger light is green. She presses the power button. Nothing. She presses it again, holds it for 3 seconds. Nothing. She unplugs the charger, waits, plugs it back in. Still nothing. Her laptop has broken down. Broken down. This phrase means something stopped working, usually suddenly and completely. We use it for machines, cars, laptops, appliances, and sometimes for systems or plans. The printer broke down right before the meeting. His car broke down on the highway. The whole system broke down under pressure. Sarah sits very still. Then she picks up her phone. She searches. MacBook screen black, won't turn on. She finds a list of steps. Force restart by holding the power button for 10 seconds. She tries it. Nothing. Reset the SMC. She finds the instructions, follows them carefully. She holds 4 keys at the same time and counts to 7. She releases. She presses power. Nothing. She is trying to figure out what is wrong, working through each possibility one at a time, systematically. Figure out. This means to understand something by thinking about it carefully, or to find a solution by working through a problem step by step. I need to figure out why this keeps happening. She figured out the answer on her own. Can you help me figure out what went wrong? She tries 4 more steps from the list. After each one, she presses the power button and waits. After each one, the screen stays black. She is running out of options. Run out of. This means to have no more of something. Time, energy, money, options, patience. We ran out of coffee this morning. I'm running out of time before the deadline. She had run out of ideas for how to fix it. She puts the phone down. She knows now that this is not something she can fix herself. Whatever is wrong is inside the machine. Hardware, not software. She will need to take it somewhere. A repair shop, probably tomorrow. But tomorrow is too late. She opens the Notes app on her phone and writes a list of everything she remembers about the file. Colors, dimensions, which font, which variation the client seemed to prefer in the last email. She is trying to troubleshoot from memory, and it is not going well. Troubleshoot. This means to identify and solve problems, especially with a machine or a system. You troubleshoot by testing one thing at a time until you find what is causing the problem. The technician spent an hour troubleshooting the network. She troubleshot the issue by checking each cable separately. Then she remembers something. The file is on her laptop. But is any version of it on Google Drive? She opens Drive. She searches for the project folder. There is a version there. It is from last Tuesday, 4 days ago, before the final adjustments. Not the finished version, but something, a foundation. She gets to the bottom of the situation finally. The laptop is broken, the latest file is gone, but the project is not completely lost. That is the difference between a crisis and a problem. Get to the bottom of. This means to find the real cause of a problem, the root of it, the actual explanation underneath everything else. It took the team a week to get to the bottom of the issue. She wanted to get to the bottom of why the file had disappeared. She checks the time. It is 11:14 in the morning. The deadline is 9 tomorrow. She has today. She also does not have a working computer. Sarah stands in the hallway outside apartment 3B. She has spent 10 minutes sitting at her desk, looking at the black screen, thinking through her options. She could go to a cafe and ask to use someone's computer for an hour, which feels too uncertain. She could call a tech repair shop and ask if they do same-day service on a Sunday, which seems unlikely. She could try to rebuild the entire logo on her phone using an app, which is not a real option. Or she could knock on Priya's door. This is a last resort, not because Priya would mind, but because Sarah hates asking. She has always preferred to solve things herself first, fully, before admitting that she cannot. A last resort. A last resort is the final option you try when everything else has failed. You use it when there are no better choices left. Calling a taxi at that hour was a last resort. As a last resort, she decided to ask for help. She knocks. Priya opens the door in a yellow sweater, hair up, a cup of tea in her hand. She looks at Sarah's face and says immediately, "What happened?" Sarah explains. Laptop, black screen, deadline, Tuesday's version on Drive, 9 tomorrow morning. Priya does not hesitate. I have my old MacBook Air, 2019. It's slow, but it works. She disappears inside for 30 seconds and comes back with a silver laptop, slightly scratched at the corner, a small sticker of a sun on the lid. Take it as long as you need. Sarah looks at her. Are you sure? Go, Priya says, waving her hand towards Sarah's door. I'll bring you tea in an hour. Back at her desk, Sarah opens the borrowed laptop, logs into her Google account, opens Drive. The Tuesday file loads slowly. Priya was right about the slow part, but it loads. She can make do with this. It is not ideal, but she can work with what she has. Make do with. This means to manage with something that is not perfect or not what you wanted, because it is what you have available. We didn't have the right equipment, so we made do with what we had. She made do with the old version of the file and updated it from memory. Priya knocks at 12:30 with 2 cups of tea and sits on the edge of the couch while Sarah works. She does not talk much, which Sarah appreciates. She just sits there, drinking her tea, occasionally checking her phone, present in the way that only good friends know how to be, close enough to help, quiet enough to let you focus. Sarah works from memory. She rebuilds the final color adjustments, recreates the spacing, reconstructs the third variation she had almost finished. It takes longer than it would have on her own machine, with her own files. The software on Priya's laptop is an older version. A few tools are in different places. But she has done this work before. She knows what the logo is supposed to look like. She trusts her eye. At 6:43 in the evening, she sends the file. She sits back in her chair and breathes. A few minutes later, her phone buzzes. Priya, from down the hall. Did it work out? Sarah types back. It worked out. You saved the day. Workout. This means a situation resolves well or a plan succeeds in the end, even if it was difficult along the way. I wasn't sure it would work, but it worked out. Everything worked out better than she expected. In the end, the problem worked out on its own. Save the day. This means to do something that rescues a situation, to solve a problem at exactly the right moment. The backup file saved the day. She arrived just in time and saved the day. Sarah looks at her own laptop, still dark in the corner of the desk. She will bring it to the repair shop on Monday. She does not know yet what is wrong with it, or how much it will cost. She will figure that out tomorrow. But tonight, there is one thing she knows clearly. She needs to back up her files, every day, without exception. Backup. This means to make a copy of your files and save them somewhere safe, an external drive, a cloud service, so that if something goes wrong, you still have the original. I back up my files every night before I shut down. She wished she had backed up the project before it disappeared. Always back up your work. You will be glad you did. She opens Google Drive. She creates a new folder. Daily backup. She uploads every current project file. It takes 4 minutes. 4 minutes! That is all it would have taken this morning. Today, Sarah lost her latest file, ran out of options, borrowed a laptop, rebuilt a project from memory, and sent it in on time. It was not a perfect day, but it worked out, and she learned something she will not forget. Let's review today's vocabulary. Breakdown. When something stops working suddenly and completely. Figure out. To understand or solve something by thinking it through carefully. Run out of. To have no more of something. Troubleshoot. To identify and fix problems one step at a time. Get to the bottom of. To find the real cause of a problem. Back up. To save a copy of your files somewhere safe. Make do with. To manage with what you have, even if it is not ideal. A last resort. The final option when everything else has failed. Work out. When a situation resolves well in the end. Save the day. To do something that rescues a difficult situation. These phrases will help you in any conversation about problems, at work, at home, with technology, with plans that change. Problems are part of life. Now you have the English for them. Tomorrow is day 26. Sarah has one more thing to figure out. The repair shop called. The bill is higher than she expected. Tomorrow, we talk about money, how to manage it, how to talk about it, and how Sarah handles a budget that did not plan for this. 5 days left. I will see you tomorrow.